Hi everyone, it's the night before the solstice and I am back in my parents' house. So I'm back in my childhood bedroom. You might remember this altar from previous videos when I was living here for a couple of months, between living in my old apartment and when I moved to Edinburgh. So this altar was my kind of daily practice altar. I used to sit here in the mornings, and my main altar was out in the shed. So I arrived back at my parents' house for Christmas just a couple of days ago on the Thursday, and I have been working on an essay that was due today, so I haven't had time to set up anything out in the shed, and I think I'm not really going to do that because I'm really exhausted and I really don't have the energy to do a whole lot for the winter solstice tonight, which is kind of a shame. And this is actually going to be the first winter solstice in a really long time that I haven't done something that to my mind sort of is like a full-blown ritual. And because the winter solstice is generally my favourite Sabbath, it's my favourite holiday, I suppose you could say, or holy day. But I thought that, seeing as I don't really have the energy and I don't have anything in mind for a full-blown ritual, I thought that what I would do this evening is actually just set up my tiny little, the lighting is really weird in here. I'm going to set up this tiny little tree, which you may or may not be able to see at all. There you go. You kind of get the idea there. It's a tiny little fake Christmas tree that I've had here in my parents' house for years and years now. I've had it for well over a decade, maybe about 15 years. And I have all of these Christmas decorations that I used to use in my apartment, but I didn't bring any of my Christmas decorations with me to Edinburgh because I knew that I wouldn't be setting up a tree there because I was going to be here for 3 weeks around the Christmas period. And usually I would have my tree set up in advance of the solstice, and then the tree is kind of, the last couple of years I had a real tree in my own apartment, so this is kind of new for me to be so ad hoc and to be just using this fake tree again, because I used to have this little tree in my bedroom in my parents' house when I was kind of in my pre-teens, early teens, all the way through my teenage years. So yeah, usually I would already have some sort of tree set up in advance of the solstice, and then that would kind of be a central component to my ritual and all that kind of thing. But seeing as that just I haven't had time to do that yet, I thought that actually listening to some of my favourite Christmas carols, or solstice, I think of them as kind of Yule solstice carols. They are Christmas carols, but to me they kind of fulfill various different purposes. They're just very festive of this kind of time of year for me. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of listen to some of them, meditate, sit here, decorate the tree, and generally just try and get into a bit of a solstice spirit. I did have a plan that tomorrow that I was going to go to Newgrange. Every year now for the last couple of years I've been hoping to do that, and it's not going to happen for various reasons, partly just because I'm so tired and it would require getting up really early in the morning, and I'm just absolutely flat out exhausted from all the essays that I've been writing, and also because I actually have to basically write a final draft of my PhD proposal tomorrow, so that I can actually take a Christmas break at some point. So that's unfortunately not going to be happening, but the picture that you see in the centre here on the altar is actually a picture of Newgrange. So I feel like even though I'm not going to be at Newgrange tomorrow, I do have something here to sort of represent that in my kind of solstice space this year. So I will go out to watch the sunrise unless it's absolutely pouring rain. I haven't actually checked what the weather's going to be like, so I'll have a look and see. So if it's not pouring rain, then I will go somewhere to watch the sunrise as best as possible tomorrow morning, as I always do on the solstice. And that's probably going to be about it. I might come back and say hello again after I've kind of decorated the tree and just show you that and have a bit of a chat. I'm not sure if there's anything else that I really want to say at this point. Just that it's been a very overwhelming couple of weeks for me, which is why I've been even quieter here on YouTube than, I feel like gradually over the last 3 months I've just been the videos have been getting kind of further and further between, and it's the same thing as ever, just incredibly busy. I've probably had the busiest semester that I might ever have, or certainly close to it. It's just been incredibly overwhelming. And honestly, again, my spirituality has sort of been dropping away a lot. My daily practice fell by the wayside a couple of days ago. And I honestly haven't been feeling very spiritual, so I'm not really sure. I suppose you could say that for the last while I've been having a bit of a spiritual slump, but really it has just been lack of time. And I think ordinarily I would have more time and energy to be sort of thinking spiritually and to be thinking about where I'm at kind of emotionally and symbolically and attuned with the seasons and stuff like that. But, for all that being said, I am extremely happy. I'm much happier at the moment, bar the last couple of days, than I have been in a really long time. So I'm also kind of realising that maybe some of the kind of contemplative kind of state that I associate with being sort of holy and reverent isn't necessarily a positive thing, that it was at least partly born of a need for me to change and for my life to actually be different than what it actually was, if you see what I mean. That part of that feeling, part of that, like I say, kind of contemplative, reverential state that I would experience in ritual and at the times of the Sabbaths was actually, me kind of undergoing change and transformation and grappling with what I actually needed to change about my life and what I needed to do with my life in order to actually be happy. And now that I'm studying in college again, now that I'm doing religious studies in university, and I have a kind of all these friends around me who I really resonate with and who I feel like I've come home in a really major way. I think I have less of a need for that kind of space, for holding that kind of space for myself. So that just means that I'm going to have to, I guess, find a new way to celebrate. And, the imbalance that has been my life for the last couple of months is not going to last. I'm definitely not carrying that forward into the next semester. It's something has to give. Things are going to change, and I'm definitely, one of the main things I want to do is to find more space in my life, a little bit more time to be spiritually focused and centered, and just to find, I really do feel like I've entered a new stage of my life and I'm a new person now. And I just need to find who I am spiritually or religiously in this new sense. I think that very simple ritual is actually a perfect testament to the fact that it really doesn't require a lot of bells and whistles to have a meaningful ritual experience. I just decorated the tree and I'm sat here and listened to a bit of music and meditated and went through a bit of a visualization and listened to an evocative piece of choral music, really beautiful choral arrangement of my favourite carol. And you know what, that was enough. That was it was enough. And maybe just allowing myself to be in that state of reverence and connection is enough. There's something about the combination of being in the dark and being in that longest night and sitting in that space of kind of waiting, and the combination of that with the promise of light and that sort of association that we have with lights and the return of the sun and the Christmas, well, I call them Christmas lights because that's the culture I was raised in, but lighting of candles and the burning of the flame through the dark night, and of course, in Newgrange in Ireland, which, if you don't know anything about it, have a Google, have a look. It's some really magical stuff, but the light kind of shining in through the passage tomb and illuminating the space within. That's always the kind of key image that I come back to. at the winter solstice, and there's something really evocative in it. There's something really poignant in it for me. Just that particular image. I think it is, like I say, just a wonderful combination of that, the sort of the dark, destructive but fertile mother kind of feel to it that I associate with the Morrigan, with the unmanifest, with the mystery of the dark and non-creation, or just pure existence, unmanifested existence. The combination of that with that sense of hope and promise and the wonder of the manifestation of cosmos, which is the sort of light part of it. There's something about that combination that really gets me, that sort of epitomizes for me just the feeling of reverence and the feeling of wonder in the face of cosmos. And this is just my favourite time of year. This is the time of year for me when I feel plugged in, when I feel really, really reverent. I keep using that word, but it is just, it's the most evocative word for me, of this feeling. So I'll take the camera with me tomorrow morning if I am actually going somewhere to watch the sunrise. Depends on the weather, like I say. And apart from that, I don't think I'll be doing a whole lot tomorrow apart from working on my PhD proposal. But if I'm not talking to you tomorrow, I hope you all have a really, really happy solstice, whatever it is that you're doing, and that this is a really wonderful time of year for you. It's a relaxing time of year, and if it's a difficult time of year for you, that you get through it in one piece, and find the joy in it that you can, because I appreciate that it's not not an easy time for everybody. For some people it's really joyful and wonderful, and for others it's really just something to get through. And I try to bear that in mind, because some of my friends don't find it as positive a time of year as I do. But yeah, it's not going to be as relaxing a time of year for me as I was hoping. I feel like I've been kind of waiting for the solstice Christmas period to be what I wanted to be for quite a lot of years now. There's just always a lot going on for me, whether it's emotionally or just kind of logistically. But that's what these kind of nights are for. Just that's the wonderful thing about the fact that we have 8 Sabbats in the year, is that every 6 weeks or so a night comes around when we have that excuse or that reason to sort of plug ourselves out of the craziness of our daily lives and remind ourselves that there is a bigger picture, and we don't always have to be on that hamster wheel and we can find the time to sort of sit back and be grateful and be present. And that's what I've been doing tonight. Like I say, not as much kind of ruminating and self-reflection as there would be at other times, and maybe that's because there isn't as much need for it, I haven't even been focusing on the gratitude as much as I might have been, even though I have a lot to be grateful for, because I feel gratitude for my life every day at the moment. I really do. It's been an incredible journey the last couple of months, the last 3 months, settling into Edinburgh and building a life for myself there. And I'm really, really grateful for that, and really aware that I'm kind of finding my feet in a really major way at the moment. So yeah, very happy solstice, everyone. I am probably going to head to bed soon now because I'm absolutely exhausted, but it has been a magical hour or so, even though that's all the time that I could really find this evening to put aside for the solstice. But like I said, it's enough. It's enough. It doesn't always have to be extravagant for it to be exactly what you need, and absolutely perfectly enough. It's not raining, but I'm not going to Newgrange today. But I'm up here in this spot that if you've watched all my Sappa vlogs before, you'll have seen this place. I was up here at the summer solstice actually, and not long after dawn. There's a light to the east, so I don't think we're going to see the sun for several hours. I don't know now today. A lot of crows around here. Some ravens as well, actually. Yesterday I was like walking down to do my usual walk for the first time since I got back. I was walking down towards the sea, and just as I reached the end of the road, I heard a crow call. I saw one raven once in Edinburgh the day that I was going to the Moreton workshop, but it was very, very high up above, and I wasn't even 100% sure that it was a raven. It could have been a hawk, but I'm pretty sure it was a raven because I could see the sun glinting off it. But apart from that, I haven't seen any ravens there. Lots of black crows, but no ravens. So it was nice to see one. The sky is actually really getting brighter now. You probably can't see that at all. There's a definite pink tinge to the sky now. But probably won't come out on this. It's quite beautiful though. The lower layer of cloud is kind of clearing. And there's like an upper layer of cloud above. And there's even some clouds starting to come through. It's actually much more beautiful dawn than I was expecting. Happy solstice, everyone.